Hi, so I'm Omai, a new Associate Director in Clinical Microbiology in the lab in Brentwood, and we are changing our swabs. And so we're going to be moving from the old blue cap system to a new system called eSwab. It's going to move from a one swab system, which was this, to a two swab system. The two swabs are going to be the white cap one. The white cap one is approved for all bacteriology and fungal samples, and that also includes AFB. So anytime a culture is desired for those samples, it'll go into the white cap. The other system is going to be a red cap viral transport. This already includes the CBM, so any sort of swab for PCR for herpes, influenza, anything like that is going to go into this cap system. Now, our only concern, this is approved for everything. So we can do viral culture, we can do viral PCR, we can do everything out of the white cap tube. If it is viral though, and they say it's going to be viral, because I think a lot of times it's just give me a culture and walk away, this is going to be better for viral recovery, but not necessary. The only problem comes in the fact is that if you try and do bacteriology or fungal recovery out of this system, these have antibiotics in them to inhibit growth of those organisms, so we're not going to be able to do that. So we would have to reject if we get a bacteriology culture and we just get this in. So the fallback is to always just use the white. So while we are offering two different sets, I would say especially for a place like the ER where things are fast and furious and you're moving very quickly, both of these will be stocked on the floors. If you want to use this as your fallback and just grab this, it's going to be very good. All right. The difference between the two, so this swab system actually went into a gel. The problem with going into a gel is that if you kind of do the slash down in order Bac-T, fungal, AFB culture, which happens a lot, that ends up being a 9-plate setup over at the bacteriology lab. And with a gel and a swab, you don't have enough organisms to set up 9 plates. So by the time you get down to the very end, depending on how you ordered the plates, you're really not getting any organism onto the plate. So you're not getting a good microbiology answer for recovery. This system here, it actually goes into a little bit of liquid amines that's in the bottom of this, and so we're able to set this liquid onto the 9 plates. So ideally this is going to be better for microbiology culture. There also is a difference in the technology of the swab itself. So this swab is like a Q-tip. It's wrapped around the end, it's cotton fibers wrapped around the end, and when you take a swab of a sample, the bacteria or fungus will get trapped in there, and then they don't get released into this gel. So you don't end up being able to get them off. Whereas this, I envision more like a pipe cleaner. So they kind of spray on a nylon Dacron onto the end of this swab, and the bacteria are able to more quickly release. So if you do clinical studies on bacteria recovery, this is like 300% better for recovering organisms than this. So quickly with the in-service, I want to pass these out, and we're going to go through real quick how they work. All right, so if everyone has one, you just want to open it up. So you have your swab and you have your transport vial, and you're just going to open it up, swab whatever it is that you're swabbing, put it into the transport vial, and then break. And then once they're broken, again, 2 patient identifiers, of course, and then send it to the microbiology lab. Now, available on request are going to be the mini tips with the longer. So if you're doing a nary swab on a baby, or if you have a urethral swab that you want to do, the smaller tip may be preferred. We're not stocking these through materials management, so if you guys want these, you can order them from the microbiology lab, and we can provide 10, 20, 50, whatever it is that you need. We also have a mini tip for viral that just has a red cap, but it's a little bit longer and a little bit finer of a tip.
You said from microbiology, right?
Yeah, and then on this sheet that I pass out, there's going to be a phone number you can call so that you can get some of those, but we'll also have those posted, like a large laminated poster that'll be up, that'll have all the swab information and where you can get, where you can request a mini. Now, if you think you're going to need a mini tip in 5 minutes, and there aren't any, the microbiology lab is not on campus, so getting that over to you. So we would suggest you kind of order 10 or 20 of them, just have them sitting around. They're not going to go bad. I mean, they're going to go bad eventually, but it would take a while. Any other sort of microbiology? Oh, here. Also, I want to emphasize, even though we're switching to a system that's much better for microbiology recovery from swabs, it's still the worst specimen source you can send us. So tissue, sterile fluid, anything like that is always way better than a swab. But we fully understand that either because of time or because of sample size, sometimes a swab is all you can provide. This is going to be much better for microbiology recovery for us. But if you cannot send us a swab and you can send us something else, we're going to have a much easier time recovering from that sample. All right. Is there any?
For like, let's say for RSV, because normally we do a nasal washing.
We want to continue to have you do the nasal wash,
Okay.
even though we understand that the nasal wash itself is a much more difficult, time-consuming, traumatic procedure as opposed to just taking a swab. Especially for that type of assay, we're gonna need that nasal wash. We won't get good recovery out of a swab. First, the rollout begins, and the rollout's gonna be slow. It may take a month or two to completely replace, because UCLA isn't about to come in and throw all these away, right? So they're gonna wait until your stock of these go down. And I guess there's like I don't remember what they're called, but there's like little bins that move around that have stock stuff in them. Like, that's where these are gonna end up being replaced. So wherever you guys normally find these, you'll start to see these. It's still, from our perspective, you know, like, if you're there and these are still there, since they're not going in there, you can continue to use them. But if you start to see these, you know, using these would be ideal, or would be better if you're going to use a swab.